Hello friends, welcome to Squared Plans. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be setting up my 4-page weekly layout for the next week in July, which just happens to be Comic-Con week. Super excited. And I've got these mile liners here ready to go, as well as this brush pen that I may use for some water, this washi tape that I may use along with these ink tape stickers from Girl Boss Anna, these hand-cut paper stickers I made on my computer, along with these transparent stickers that I made as well on my computer. So let's jump in. I'm going to go ahead and lay down some wax paper to get started. As I mentioned, this is a 4-page week, so I have 2 spreads to do, and I decided that I really wanted to create something cool for Comic-Con week. I went online and just searched for images, comic book images that I liked, and I found these guys just through a Google search. The artist's name I will put here up on the screen because I can't think of it right now, but there was no sticker. I created these stickers just from the images I found online, so I can't offer these to you guys at all as a link or anything like that. I basically collected these images and created my own sticker sheet from the images that I saw. So what I did is I found 5 watercolor superhero paintings. I saw those, I thought those were just so cool, the aesthetic, but there was nothing that you could buy or use. So I just grabbed the images themselves, they were pretty high quality, and put them down onto a sheet in my computer. I took that as kind of my basis for the design I wanted to do, so then I added in some text just with some fonts I had, and also added some quotes as well that I found online that were kind of like superhero themed quotes. I also had those circle stickers over there, which were from another image I found on Google, and I just laid those down onto a sheet of plain paper, label paper, and then cut them out by hand. I would have done those in clear, but you can't really write very well over clear stickers, and I just didn't want to have to bother trying to punch them out and all that good stuff. So just did paper, and we'll just stick those directly down so that I can write within the circles themselves. So long story short, there's a lot of setup here for finding the images I wanted for Comic-Con, but I'm really excited about this spread, and I wish that I had a way to kind of share this with you guys, but these images do not belong to me, so I would not feel comfortable sharing these stickers with you guys for this layout. That said, I'm just using it for personal use, but that's a way that you can add some variety to your planner if there's a specific theme that you want and you're just not able to find it in sticker form. You can always create your own stickers. If you don't have a good printer that you could do it to, you can do black and white stickers with those small thermal printers. So there's some options, but because Comic-Con is so near and dear to my heart, I really wanted this spread to have a lot of pop and emphasis on the Comic-Con theme. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's talk about what I am doing here. So I had, like I said, found 5 superhero images that I really liked and really spoke to me. I am laying those out onto my first spread, and so I made duplicates of all of these, just flipped, mirrored. So I have all of the same 5 for the next spread as well, just mirrored. I am laying them in now, just kind of peppering in the quotes that I had made and the circle stickers that I had there already pre-cut. I'm making some clusters here. Again, I'm always thinking about functionality, so I want to make sure I have enough room to really still use each of the days to their fullest, especially here in the beginning of the week, because I will be needing to do a lot earlier in the week so that I can have fun as the week nears the end. So I wasn't sure exactly how I might incorporate these Girl Boss Anna tape stickers. I did just do a full layout in my health planner using these, and they're really cool and pretty versatile. I wasn't really expecting them to be so versatile, so I'm really happy with the way that I was able to manipulate them and make them feel kind of like integral into different spreads. So I thought I'd try to pull a few more of them in here, and just trying to work out what colors will work best behind these quotes. I think that's going to be the best place for me to add them in, since I am using clear stickers and I don't really want them to show behind the characters. But I think that the watercolor feels really do go well with the styling of the stickers that I have there. So I'm just doing some layering, trying to figure out what looks good, trying some different things out, and what circle stickers I think work best with which clusters. I decided I wanted to bring in a little bit of script feel to it too, because I just like that aesthetic, kind of that handwritten styling. So you can see that in the quotes. I made some quotes that were in like a scripty font. And that's why I pulled this washi tape in the kind of scripty style as well, just so that all blended together and kind of matched in that way. So I think I've got a good basis for the very first layout, as far as balance and usefulness. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side and just do the second layout on some wax paper separately. And then once I've figured that one out, kind of using that same idea as the first, I'll be able to start laying them down on the sheets. Comic-Con, I have tickets for Thursday and Friday, so those are the days I'll be down at Comic-Con, and I made 2 little headers for each of those days, calling out the Comic-Con theme, so I know when I go back in my planner which days I went. So I'm going to go ahead and lay those in now, and start laying in the superheroes. And like I said, these are all mirrored, so they're like the opposite orientation to the ones that were on the previous page. I don't want to lay them in the exact same place as I did on the opposite, so I'm just going to try different locations. I have a little bit more leeway here on the left side of the page since I am going to be at Comic-Con. I'm doubting that I'm going to have much to plan on those days, so I can really fill those up with a little bit more of the decor if I need to. And just starting to lay things in, seeing what's working, what maybe isn't working. One thing that I'm thinking of when I'm laying down these characters is each one of them has a slight orientation. So for example, the Hulk is looking at his fist, he's looking towards the center currently, being on the right side of the page. If I put the Hulk on the opposite side and put him on the left, he would look like he's looking off page, off the spread, and that's not good for design. You really want to keep your eye drawn towards the internals of the page. So if you're ever laying down stickers that have orientations like that, like maybe a car driving or something similar to that, you really want to make sure that the orientation keeps your focus or your view going towards the inside of the page versus out of the page. It's kind of a basic design rule that you should do if you want to draw your eyes around whatever it is that you're designing. So I was having a tough time, placing the Thor where I wanted him to be, so I switched him out with the opposite version from the first spread, so that I could get him in this corner and have him going inside of the page versus, like I said before, the orientation kind of pushing you outside. I'm getting away with it in some aspects, like the Captain America and the Hulk, because they're in the center of the page. So the eye is still kind of drawing you within the page, but Captain America's a little bit, it would be better if he was a little bit more down in the page, I think, for what I was describing there, keeping your eyes within the page. But sometimes you're limited to when you're trying to balance out the page, and you just do the best you can with what you have. So I'm working here down at the bottom with this quote from Thor. I have 2 more to work in on this spread. I am going to use one on the right hand side of the page, and then I have another one that's similar that I'll use on the opposite side. I'm trying to figure out which circle stickers I want to match up with which characters on this spread. I had pulled up the gray one because I decided I wasn't really sure about that one being there with Thor, and it really stuck down to the clear sticker quite a bit, and when I tried to pull it up, of course it left some residue. I'll probably figure out a way to cover that up, but just yeah, kind of learning how the paper stickers were really more of a permanent adhesive versus the clear stickers, which have more of a removable feel to them and allow you to kind of move them around without them really sticking as hard. But those paper stickers that I have, there's some like Avery shipping labels, so of course that's why they're really made to be more permanent. Just something to keep in mind when you do buy labels. I've had these for so long before I even started planning, so I'm just using up my stash. But there are options that are removable or repositionable, which you might want to think about if you're going to be using some printed stickers from your own stash in your planner. I would highly recommend those if you can find those labels. And because I had those 2 quotes left over, one for Captain America and one for Thor, I really needed to make some adjustments here with where I was placing them. I wanted to have each of the quotes be on separate pages just for balance, so we just made that little adjustment. And now I'm going to try to incorporate the last of the scripty quotes. What I did on this clear sheet is I pre-scored all of the stickers just by hand using my precision cutter, which is kind of like an X-Acto knife but really tiny, and you can almost draw with it like a pen. So it made it perfect for pre-cutting out the stickers on the sheet so they were ready to go for filming. And now I'm pulling in some more of that washi tape again just to get that scripty feel kind of passed around throughout the entire spread. Something, yeah, needs to be adjusted here. Not in love with the positioning. I'm also noticing that the dots, the dot drips on the characters definitely all go towards the bottom, like go down. So if I don't have the character oriented just right, the drips kind of look like they're going sideways. I caught that as I was doing it because I wasn't really mindful of it in the beginning, and made that adjustment as I started placing things actually onto the paper. And okay, I think we've got a good basis for what we want to do. So next we're going to add some texture to the background. And what I thought I might do is use the mild liner colors at first, but then I just changed my mind right as I started to do it. And I was like, I think black will be so much better. So I have this calligraphy ink in black that I got recently at Michael's on clearance. It's cool, but it's very, I would say porous, but that's probably not the right word, but it soaks through the paper like nobody's business. So I did a sample and I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work because I obviously use both sides of the paper, and I can't have that just like leaking through on both sides when I have a different spread on 2 of the 4 pages. I'm just going to clean this up and then try again. I'll just use my more traditional technique of using Tombow markers and a little bit of water. And it's not as strong as far as how the ink splatters go onto the page. So it's, almost like a black gray tone, but it also doesn't soak through the paper. So, it's kind of a trade-off, but I like the way that it turned out with the Tombow. And I'm using this splatter brush from Tim Holtz. I picked this up, I think, last Black Friday. I've used it a number of times here on my planner, and it's really cool. It's kind of a tool that, is maybe unnecessary. You could probably get the same technique with like a toothbrush or something, but I just like how it's easy to clean because they're just plastic bristles, and its whole purpose is making splatter. So it's very good at making dots and splatter as needed. So I'm just doing that now and trying to have a light enough touch so that it's not like everywhere little dots, but also trying to get some good splats on the page to really kind of show the texture. I'm going to go ahead and get started on laying in the first one. I will start here in the corner, I think, with the Iron Man. Just going to kind of make sure I'm getting the placement right, or maybe not. I'll start with the Thor instead. I don't know why I thought I was going to start with Iron Man, but guess not. And I'm going to lay him in. Decided I'm going to do some whiting out of the darkest lines there behind the clear stickers. I'm okay with the gray lines that I use below, but like the black lines are a little bit too bold, and I just don't want those showing through the back of the clear sticker. So on those, I'll go ahead and white them out with my Jelly Roll white pen. And I'm laying in my Spider-Man sticker here now. Since I'm butting it up against the spine, I'm going to need to do some trimming around the holes, and I'm also going to white out that black line below him so that it's a nice clean look. And here I'll show my precision cutter too when I cut out the holes. It's a really cool little tool. I mention it a lot on my channel just because I feel like it's been so integral into my planning process. It's just such a convenient little tool. And like I said, so fine. I always struggled with X-Acto knives because they're so, I don't know, long and sharp, and I don't know, it just doesn't make it that easy for you to not cut through the paper. You really have to have a light touch, but not too light. And when I started out, I was using an X-Acto knife, and I really just felt awkward with it, like it was going to, just cut straight through the paper, which a lot of times it did. So when I got this slice precision cutter with this really fine tip, and then like I said, it's got control like a pen, it's really been life-changing in my planner life as far as the way that I'm able to cut stickers right on the sheet and manipulate stickers. So I think it's a very useful tool for planners, and if you don't have one, I highly suggest picking one up. I have a link below in the description, of course, if you want to go right to it. You can buy it directly from Slice, where I have a 10% promo code that you can use to get a little bit cheaper. I just wanted to give a little shout out to that tool. Now we are moving on to placing the elements here on the right hand side, and I decided that I just wasn't in love with the blue and the red combination, so I just switched that out to be red on red. I just think it looks a little bit less contrasty. Sometimes blue and red together can be a bit much, so I was just more leaning towards the red on red, I think. Not sure if that was ultimately the best choice, but that's what we did, so that's what we went with. But was a little bit limited on which ink stickers I had at my disposal, so I tried to do the best I could with what I had in my stash. And here's an example of where I kind of saw where the drips were not going quite the right way in my first attempt to lay it in, so I just made this adjustment here. And I will lay in and straighten out the quote as well. Because I cut those clear stickers by hand, the edges are a little bit slightly raised, so I'm just going over it with the blunt tip of my precision cutter to kind of smooth that out and also to kind of adhere the clear sticker a little better to the sheet. And all right, we are moving on to the next spread. I'm going to go ahead and start with these Comic-Con headers and lay those in. I did try to match up the quotes that I had found with the characters that said them for the most part. Some of them I don't know who who it was said by, but I know for sure that Spider-Man was the whole "with great power comes great responsibility," so got that in there. Go ahead and lay down Iron Man, who is my favorite. I definitely am a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. That was my introduction actually into comics, aside from the X-Men, which I used to watch as a kid on TV. I never had comic books growing up or anything like that, so this is kind of a new phenomenon to me as far as this whole Comic-Con world. But it's so fun. People do, I mean, they just do all kinds of crazy things with their costumes, and I just love the commitment to making these gorgeous costumes. I'm excited to be there and just kind of be with the energy of the crowd, and yeah, it's going to be fun. So I've laid down Thor, again, just kind of using the blunt edge of my precision cutter to kind of smooth out those rougher edges on the clear stickers, get everything adhered well to the page. And I decided to go back to that gray circle sticker for Thor. I ended up covering up the adhesive a bit with the watercolor ink tapes there with that overlay in the quote, and I think that looks pretty good. And we're moving on over here to the Hulk. Everything looks good. Just going to trim off any overhang of the clear sticker. And then I decided to move Captain America over just a smidge. I think that looks just as good. And lay in this last circle sticker. Once I get that laid in, we will be done, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment too if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!